Whoops. You're gonna jump onto it. Nice. That's just one of those lava right there. Like right over, I was right next to it the whole time. Now I remember that. Spikes. That bubble disappeared. I was like, reference it by the bubble. And then the bubble disappeared. Hand, I'm left my ball busted. I just jumped right there and I stood still. Gotta love it. For that time I was on, I can do this all day. I still haven't gotten through 300 lives, and I'm still on the first world something. I'm down to 50? No, 100. I'm about at 100 lives. So last time it was 300. And that was to get the toad. There we go. Oh, there is, see, maybe I need to load a taco or something. Yeah, but Guild Wars 2 is basically, I call it a sandbox MMO, but, I guess there's all these bubbles around the edges. don't remember that being so difficult last time. Did I go this way? I think I might have gone this way. That wasn't too hard. Usually there's a lot more craziness going on in Tribulation mode than that. Just get back to it. Slid on the edge. This is entrepreneurship online at its finest. For real. I'm not joking. Talking quietly, playing Tribulation Mode. Networking 101. I technically should be promoting the guild in game in preparation for World versus World. I just would like to get my back end situated where everything's in its right channels, involving the affiliate and entrepreneurship side of things, as to not trip over oneself or get any mixed messages or mixed ideas about what I'm here to do and what I'm here doing. I've been doing it for years. A lot of it's been testing the waters, and pretty much, you know, the only thing that end developers can do is just maintain what they've built, and then always, you know, update here and there as you go. But it seems like VR is their view on what computers are meant to do, and that's not true for me. Guild Wars 2 is more peak level than a VR machine. And like, I really don't even think kids should be playing VR machines, to be honest. But it's different if you like spend like, you know, if you're on a plane and you want to watch a movie and you're like looking through that thing, and you look at your time spent on, you know, online or just whatever, you know, it's a tool like anything else, but I don't like the idea of doing these MMOs in a VR. But who knows, people will do whatever, I guess, this day and age. I mean, I heard some people signed up for the whole getting a CRISPR machine and genetically altering their genes or whatever. Take out the monkey, get the bauble, move on. There's a bomb. There's a bomb right there. I was about to say that to myself. Okay, so start all over. And, just make it exact. It's interesting to think that, like, you know, back in the day, people would tend to their farms, tend to their gardens or whatever, and you have usually like one that would go to work, and then the rest of the day would stay home, and eventually you have the school system. But before that, you know, you had it just where you learn how to live off the land, and then there was, you know, networks of different tribal groups, that's been the dynamics of what's been going on in Europe and all over the other part of the world. But here in the States, it's interesting to see where things are going, especially with the way that people just have gone from television programming to Facebook or social media programming. And you know, I'll check it, but I'm more here than I am there, and I'm getting to the point of being a little bit disheartened by the way that investors just sign up with their dollars for this and that without looking at the, I guess, you know, what I've been saying. And a lot of that takes, you know, what I've been saying has a lot to do with family and friends and participating on a creative level, on a maker level with one another, and not letting any social service represent that or do that for us, you know, and to use those platforms, but to use them in a way that aligns one another equitably for meeting you know, various modes of sharing and attention capabilities now with the tools available. So like where Guild Wars 2 has a lot of different guilds and different guild leaders and different guild leading styles, that's the idea behind what I've been saying, talking about networking and team leading and helping others to start creating a presence that represents being a leader within the entrepreneurship online marketing and brand ambassador networking field. And the challenge has been is there's a lot of different people pushing and pulling, and you don't really get a sense of who you're doing business with many times. And if it's just about business, you know, usually back in the day, you go to a location and meet someone and you talk to them, and you'd have to be, you know, bought or sold on an idea and to have any type of investment capabilities. And I'm looking at the cloud as, okay, well, those are big moves by people who have big, you know, like a lot of assets or a lot of whatever, you know. And I'm talking about pennies. I'm more looking at the pennies, but not like Wolf on Wall Street, but like, you know, I'm not like into the whole stock market idea of it. I'm not against the stock market. I'm just saying I'm not into the idea of the stock market being the way to go about things. You know, there's the Forex, you know, trade market, no different than the stock market. But I don't look at those entities as being the end-all be-all when it comes to trade and marketplaces, and I see that the people can be able to represent a more unified way to do things without so much old-school overhead like there used to be, and still is because of, you know, business running as normal. However, going about the changes and transitioning capabilities is where it's like, you know, that's where the, you know, the rubber meets the road, and I'm not in any place working on any projects personally to say much about it. I'm more or less just work and play Guild Wars 2, and I'm wondering where humanity, or where people, or where men and women, or I'm just wondering what, you know, life's gonna bring the next day here, and the day after that, and the day after that. Having faith in the greater spirit that, you know, things are going to start aligning towards making sense with one another with what we're dealing with, rather than just accepting the programming that, who knows what the people who are, you know, the mindsets or the ideas of the people who were programming prior to their sense of being with this new capability. And I'm not just talking about MMOs either. I'm talking about, you know, being able to get your news in real time by doing a search on where you want to go and look it up, you know, and not necessarily always getting it from the newscasters anymore, but getting real-time information from people who have written articles and blogs about it, and it gets organized effectively. And I think that's where there's a big disconnect, is the information from the everyday Joe, you know, the moms and pops, and also the confusion and the variance in communications about the professional industries also. I mean, when you start having it where YouTube is sharing videos with doctors, and the doctors are saying counterintuitive, like counteracting things. You know, one saying one thing, one saying another thing. It gets a little bit interesting where we're headed as a humanity on what's real and what's not real. And I'm not saying that these games are the defining point, but when it comes to being involved with virtual synapses and capabilities and interacting with one another in a digital sense, having a knowledge of these MMOs as being what people are involved in on the background, a lot of times will give sense to, you know, the dynamics of what we're dealing with. And I'm kind of at the point of saying, okay, well, people look at these social media sites perhaps now as the front end because they're accessible via your phone and stuff, and they see these games as being, oh yeah, PC-based game, you know, back end type of scenario. And I'm looking at it more of like hierarchically. PC's been here first. PC gamers have, you know, a lot more dynamics, you know, and there's a lot of layers with PCs. You know, this is like a traveling workstation. You know, this is more than just the game. And so much art and capabilities is capable by all of us right here at low cost, just because you have a computer. And so my dynamic is bringing it all together as a guild leader and inspiring other artists, gamers, networkers to take a leadership stance and start positioning oneself as a networker within you know, truly honest and genuine business. And that's been the other challenge that I've been dealing with online, is finding businesses, knowing there's thousands of businesses out there and different people pushing and pulling. And you know, I got one that I'm sticking with, and I've been testing, you know, a few out without much communication yet so far within the community. But, you know, I'm not one of those people who's gonna sell you stuff based on, you know, this is how to do it, and then they inspire you to like make a lot of money by getting people to sign up to their email list, and you know, this is, you know, they'll give you this for free if you join their team and their community team, and they are able to get a lot of people to join that team and then inspire them to do whatever from there. And people will either just leave the group or maybe participate and figure out that they have to create their stance just like he's doing to be able to make it make sense for them. And people do, they create it and they make a little bit, and then it doesn't, you know, maybe work for them after a while, or, you know, there's other competitions out there. It's like this riding a wave with it, but it doesn't really make sense on a long-term computer savvy technical level that meets the challenge of the heart-based dynamics of meeting the care and the appreciation for the older and the elder caretakers who helped us get to this level, and also taking a listen for once at the different documentaries and educations, videos, and knowledge bases about the caring for the earth and earth wisdom, and participating in new ways of being ecologically in tune with that and balanced. And that's where, like, I shared this video earlier about bio fuel created from algae as like a new source of being able to get energy. And energy has been a big factor in many things, and in many ways it's been able to cage things in and keep things somewhat tame. But being that we are with the cloud, you know, it's like I see that people are looking to do something, and people have been doing stuff, but it's all discombobulated, and people have different intents with what they're doing based on what they're viewing as important. And that's important also. People having those unique dimensions of what they would like to care for has been how it's been operating, but it's always been operating based on these hierarchical levels, and not necessarily so much on the hands-on, we the people unifying peacefully or in peaceful ways, in creative maker, you know, co-creative ways that is peaceful, you know. And so you see people out there, you've seen all the different types of picketing and all types of parades and stuff of people with signs going about, you know, talking about what they do and don't want. But when it comes down to brass tacks, actualizing it day to day is what I'm here to do, and I've been here to do. So close. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick AFK here. Okay, I did it AFK. That's how you do it. You just gotta be AFK to do stuff. So I'm gonna un-AFK and I'll be right back. That was a joke. I'm still AFK. to hit those big spots anyways, and I still gotta watch out for the spike. And the spike still got me. That's the way it goes sometimes. It doesn't have to be all the time though, you know? Maybe be a little bit better. But I still, you know, choose to go about things based on do unto others as you would have done unto you, you know? Oh, okay, watch out for the bunny. There we go. Okay, so I can't get that close. Yeah, there we go. You don't have to get too close. Grab the balloon. Whoa! No, no, no! Oh, there's a snake there. I didn't even realize that. Felt like there was something sketchy around. How do I get back over there? Stuck under here unless you go. Oh, there we go. Okay. We gotta go through that little crevice there. I think there's another monkey up here I gotta watch out for. Oh, no, there's not. Okay. I just lost it right there. Got myself confused with the first rock. The first one doesn't jump, it's the second one. So I can get close to this one. Even if I can just tweak it to where I fall up there, that's better than... like that. That works. That's why you follow the red, and not the green. Terra Roy, how fun. So I mean that's been the main premise is sustainability, abundance, based on agreements with various governments and also unifying as we the people doing so. The micro changes is what the macro abundance will look like. It's through what our efforts are. I'm all about gamers and having fun online with computers, more so than arguing or trying to, you know, get someone to believe this or that. You know, there's a lot of information out there. I'm more into taking a more wondrous approach and having fun with it, and growing our stances and use of the new changes. So. Where's this? I'll be right back. Guild Wars 2 be cool because it's like a social MMO and there's different challenges and elitist levels to it, but it also has very, you know, mild aspects to it also, depending on what you're looking to do. You'll get better as you go, so I mean, you kind of have to take it slow and get better as you go. And then Tribulation Mode really shows where people are at, and I have a ways to go. getting it down pat, like some of these mechanics and where to jump and doing the best to do it where it's like every time or almost every time is fun. Oh, my face is that lava. I feel like I was supposed to get a cloud somewhere, and I missed it. I'd like to get it. Let's see if I can see it on the map here. There it is, okay. Like, it has to be up here then. Come on. Oh, there's a key. I missed that chest. Yeah, I missed that chest. And I lost the key too. Oh well, it's probably like just only 20 levels. I'd like to get better at getting them. I messed up because I went too far. But I didn't know better, so that's why. It's a matter of getting, you know, the map memorized to know how far to go and how far not to go if you got a key. And the chest was a little higher up on the map from where I was, so I couldn't use the key. Next time, I'll be in here a few more times. So. See, it's that way, it was that way. I'll go ahead and pick it up then, maybe in the next part. Oh, this is just fun. Oh, I missed it. That key's gone. I hit 2, but I still got too close. They did it on purpose. At least this isn't too difficult of a a challenge compared to all the other ones. Okay, I got the balloon. Moving on. No, it's not. I totally made that. Oh man. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm not playing no more games with this, you know? Okay. Maybe it is a game, but that's not the point. Not real life, though, no. It's just been strange for me, because my life was saved by doctors at birth, so that's kind of the start, and then from there it's like shenanigans after shenanigans by all types of programming. I think I need to step away for a bit and come back. 59 lives. I didn't think you could actually fall in this game, but the fall damage is much different. I didn't even think you can fall flat like that on your face. I thought it just ate all the fall damage, being that it's adventure box. Oh, I totally made that. I need to hit that V. Whoa. Whoa. There we go. I keep thinking that these are the timed ones, and they're not. Yeah, out. Oh, I gotta back up to that point. I jumped right into those spikes. So I mean, the idea is, you know, there's been tribal building for forever, you know, as people banding together of common like minds, and being able to do that multidimensionally, where I might be into a bunch of different things, someone else might not be into the same things, but we can still coexist together in the diaspora of virtual space, you know, providing ability for us to actually find that stillness with one another and explore one another's ideas, mind spaces, thoughts, growth, and participate in that leveraging process. It's just the long view has really been about perceptions on ownership and purpose with the landscapes and what is the long-term view. And my view is that the universe is a friendly place and that together we thrive, and what we do with our day-to-day action with our day-to-day actions defines, you know, the future of humanity or people or mankind, men and women. It's just, I mean, there's layers that are changing still, so not everything's fully set up in many ways, I guess is one way to look at it. I don't really like talking too much about stuff that's not really here nor there when it gets down to it. I mean, what is here is the Guild Wars 2 is what's in front of me, and I have a shovel and I'm digging for baubles. But I also have the guild and community, and I'm growing. I'd like to, you know, grow the network in the sense of entrepreneurship. So being involved to participate would, you know, naturally be involved in networking and entrepreneurship and stacking as business owners or club owners, and communicating various ways one another can be involved in that type of space with whatever, you know, various businesses are out there. I've spent a good bit of time researching and in the background, not really presenting as much as I've researched, and presented, you know, an iceberg compared to what I've explored. And, you know, being that there's a lot of stuff out there, I've found some really cool, unique businesses and programs, and I found some really shady businesses. I found some that are really cool, but they had other people behind it, and it didn't work out the way that one would have liked. And so it's been a challenge knowing that there's a lot of scams, and to what, you know, to what to look out for. And not to be pushed into a corner because of fear either, you know. It's like, you know, there's different platforms out there, I'm not going to name for this communication, but there's different platforms out there that the goal is to give you a sense of secure communications with family and friends. And in that, providing the secure spaces, they partition out the direct, you know, in the now moment with the multi-dimensional layers of things. It's almost like you accept having something to, and there's a pros to cons to what it is, but it's like, it's accepting to have your lives partitioned and organized by a third party, and we should naturally be that third party, and we kind of are, but only so much as the the social media tools that we're using allow us to do. And so you're always within that realm of whoever's realm you're in. And so being that I'm playing Guild Wars 2, but I'm also live streaming, you know, that puts me in the realm of Twitch, Facebook, potentially YouTube, but I'm not streaming to YouTube right now. And Mob Crush, right? And then if I have that Mob Crush, which I was thinking about creating the M feed on my board there. And so that's where your place to stand starts to come into play, and being able to operate the starting point of any business, or a hub spot for businesses, you know, but a kind of a real timeline that you can explore your past histories through archives beyond just using the Facebook. You know, it's a lot more personal. It allows for more personality in doing stuff with it, in the backgrounds and themes and whatnot. So it's like, it's just like another tool to be able to use beyond the rent-a-space Facebook, you know, and it starts giving limbs to your endeavors with others. And maybe your heart would be an actual website that you know, represents or relates to an art, you know, project or band or whatever it is that your main focus is. And oh my goodness, I didn't loot the chest. I can't believe that. I didn't realize it kicks you. Oh good, it gave me the chest right there. I feel like I missed some baubles in that chest though. It booted me. Well, now I'll remember that. Alright, well, I'm gonna log. It's been a good night. Thanks for watching, y'all.